this is step 3 for your complementary color weaving project. For step 1, we went ahead and we made our loom. The loom is what holds together your weave. Step 2, we had to go ahead and cut up our blue paper to make these long paper strips. And yeah, so step 3, we are going to be weaving. So this we have done before in kindergarten and first grade. So it's kind of a review, but let's go over it again. So when you're weaving, there's 2 words that we like to say that creates sort of a pattern. So if I say over, what comes next? Under. Over, under, over, under. So it's always opposite when you are weaving. So what you're going to do with your first strip is you're going to start on one side, and if you go over on your first row right here, then the second one you're going to go under. Over, under, over, under, over, under, and end on over. Your strips should line up about perfectly. They were the same size paper, so they should line up right along the edge. So for your second one, now you have to do opposite. So if I started over, then I'm going to have to do the next one starting on under. So under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, and ending on under. Okay, and then I like to just squish it all to one side. Alrighty, now your next strip is going to be the same as your first one. So over, under, and you go over first. Over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, and over. All right, so you're going to continue this pattern throughout the rest of your weave. Let me show you some things that could go wrong that you might miss and that you have to fix. So say I start, let's see, over, under, over. I'm going to start under. Say I'm going under, over, under, over, under, over. Sometimes this happens to students. Does this look the same as these ones? No. What happened? Let's just review. Let's go over. So under, over, under, over, over. I accidentally went over 2 of them. So if that happens, your pattern, your weave kind of looks a little off, and looks what happens. It can get all messy and smushed. So if you catch that after you put the weave in, then you're going to have to take that strip out and do it again. So I'd have to go under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, and under. And then again, squish it. Another thing that happens sometimes is you forget to do the opposite. So if I went ahead and just went under right away without kind of looking back at the last strip, and I did the pattern correctly, but I didn't follow that. Look at the difference between these 2 and the rest of these. It's because I didn't do the opposite. And look at when I squish it, it just goes over that last strip. So if that happens, then you just take it out and you try it again. So then you can always go back and look over, under, or blue, orange, and what comes next? Blue. That's another pattern you could do as well. So those are the 2 things that I notice can go wrong. For the rest of the video, I'm just going to go ahead and finish my weave. And that is what I want you to do, my virtual learners. If you go past, the next 20 minutes of work time because your classmates only have 20 minutes, half-hour classes. If you don't end up finishing your weave today, you can finish for next class. Because I think a lot of your classmates in person are not going to finish, so we'll be finishing these up next class. So I will just keep you posted, my virtual learners. Clay and Serenity. There is something I want to show you when we get towards the end of the weave, so please make sure to continue to watch this video. You can start weaving if you'd like, but just kind of stay focused. Keep the video on, and I got to show you something once we get towards the end of the weave. There's some things that kind of happen towards the end. Kind of looks like a brightly colored checkerboard. Under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. Make sure you squeeze it to the tight. You want it to be nice and tight, so maybe you can ask mom or dad or a big older sibling to kind of help you tighten these strips. The tighter it is, the more it'll stay locked in to your weave. If you don't remember, I always come around and I make sure they're nice and tight. Over, under, over, under, over, under, over. Now, towards the end, you might have a little space. If you can kind of see, there's not enough space for a thick one like this. But if you went ahead and you cut some smaller strips, feel free to use those, but I went ahead and I cut a smaller one, and this smaller one will fit very nicely right in there. It's a little tricky. Try not to rip your loom. And you just got to kind of snug it through there, and again, if you need some help, you know, ask an adult or an older sibling at home if you're kind of struggling a little bit. Adeline and Elena should be able to help you there. Alrighty, but yeah, that little piece fit nicely. So if you did end up cutting a smaller strip, use that. Or if you didn't cut a smaller strip, then just leave it, okay, because you won't be able to fit a bigger one in. All right, wow, that's brightly colored. So save it, keep this in a safe space. We're going to have to do a little gluing next class to kind of keep our loom nice and locked, but we'll wait until next time. All right, good luck. Let me know if you have any questions.